Right, hi everyone. Welcome. Hope you had a good week. Welcome to another coding club. My name's Stephen, and today I will have my daughter Olivia joining us shortly. She's just still getting herself ready. And today we have Pierre helping us on support. So if you've got any problems or questions, just give us a shout, and hopefully between us both we'll be able to give you a hand. So for this week, we're going to be looking at a RPG, a role-playing game. We're going to build our own. So if we share the screen. So for this one here, we're going to have our own little maze. And so what happens here is you start off in a room and you can say that you want to go in a direction. So for here, we'll say we'll go east. And we've moved from being in a hallway with a key to going east to now being in a dining room with a potion. So that's the sort of thing we're going to be building today. And we're going to make it a little bit interesting. So for this one here, we're going to learn about lists and dictionaries a little bit and practicing our Boolean expressions. Yeah, welcome. For this lesson as well, normally we start off with a blank trinket page, but for this one here, to help get things going, we're going to have a bit of a head start. So I can send you the link to this page if you want to have the instructions on your own screen. Which once again, very kindly of Zoom, has all moved out of the spaces I was expecting to be in. Right. Oh, I'm sharing a screen. It's up there now, isn't it? Oh, it catches me out every time when I try and find the chat window. There we go. Okay. So that's the link to the instructions, but more importantly, start programming. The link for our starting trinket. So if you go to rpf.io/rpgon, and that will get you, hopefully, to this nice little starting page. So give everyone a moment to get themselves on the starting page. You excited to be building your own RPG? Role-playing game?
No.
No? Yes?
I really don't know.
Tell you what, move the camera slightly so you're still just in shot there. There you go. Right, so hopefully you've all got yourselves onto the starting trinket. So at the moment, I believe if you run that, you'll get this sort of stuff coming up here. So you can, at the moment, sort of say you want to go. And I'll just send the link again, just in case anyone missed the link first time. Okay. So here we've already got some starting instructions, so we can say go, and I'm going to say east. Can't go east. Right, go west. Can't go west. Right, go north.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Oh yes, apologies. You know what? That was on my list of things to do, and I forgot. So thank you for that. Now, go south. There we go. So we can go south at the moment. If you start your game. So at the moment, the starting code we've got literally gives you this idea of a hall where you can go south, and it will take you into this kitchen.
Why do you go in the kitchen? Is it?
Yes, and I'm just going to paste the link again, just in case anyone missed it. There we go. So in this game, this is where we're going to have a little bit of backing and forthing a little bit. So basically what we've got is you've got this hall and a kitchen. So if you're starting in the hall, you can go south and you go to the kitchen. And if you're the kitchen, you can say go north and you go back to the hall. Okay, so hopefully if you run your code, you can do that. And if you just hit stop and run again, you can get yourself back to the starting point. So hopefully you have a quick shot and see if you can get that. But yeah, see if you can travel
Around the world.
Well, travel between at the moment the kitchen and the hall.
Around the world.
A couple of times maybe. Okay. So as we've just sort of seen, if you do type, for example, go west, you get a message saying you can't go that way. So.
Oh wait, so you can only go to a hall and kitchen.
At the moment, yes. And you go north and south, up and down effectively. So we want to add in an extra room.
Definitely, because.
Yeah, we're much of a role-playing game. So if you have a look at your code down here on line 30, you've got this rooms equals, and then you've got hall, south, kitchen, and then kitchen, north, hall. So this is our dictionary that links our rooms together. So at the moment, if we want to add in another room, so say we want to add in an extra room. So we've got hall, kitchen, and a dining room. What we can do is we can add an extra bit down here.
And then your bedroom.
So most importantly, on these brackets here after the kitchen, if you put a comma here and then hit return, and then you can unindent so it's in the same line as these. And what we'll add in is a dining room. So you can do single quote, dining room. And then you want to do colon. And then you want to do open curly braces.
Huh?
Sorry, didn't mean to knock my mouse. So one of these sort of curly braces, the sort of weird looking
Smiley,
bracket.
unhappy face. No?
So this adds in a new room called a dining room. And what we want to do is when we add in this game, when we add in new rooms, we need to add in saying where that room links to. So what we can do here is say for the dining room, if you travel west, it will take you back, in this case, to the hall. So we've now added in a new dining room, and the dining room, you can travel from the dining room back to the hall.
Wait, west?
Yes.
Isn't west that way?
Yes.
No, that way.
No, you're right the first time.
Ah, that way. So then east is that way.
Easy way to remember. North, east, south, west. That's generally how games tend to do. And we can sort of show that here with the little compass point here. So we will be going back and forth to this sort of diagram a couple of times just to try and, it's a bit hard to sort of show it otherwise. So we've added this new room, but we need to be able to link it. So we need to be able to get from one of our existing rooms to our new room. So up here in hall, after kitchen, if we do a comma and then return, and we want to say east, comma, sorry, quote, semicolon, and then we want to say dining room. You want to make sure that you've got your spellings right because these need to match.
What happens if it doesn't match?
If it doesn't match, then you're not going to get to the room you want to get to, and it's going to be a bug. So if you've done that, hopefully when you may have to stop your code and rerun it if you've left it running like we did. So if you hit run again, so we're in the hall. So if we say go east, we're now in the dining room. So our new room exists, and then we can say.
I thought you said you were going west.
No, from the dining room to the hall, you're going west.
Oh.
So yeah, so from the dining room, we say go west, we're back in the hall. How do you let go of the Mac? So what I'll do quickly, so from that example here, we started off in the hall, we went east to the dining room, and then from the dining room, we went west back into the hall. So give people a few moments just to sort of get that and hopefully get it working. And yeah, give it a try, make sure that you can go from east to west. The most important thing to remember on this when you're doing it is make sure you've got these commas at the end. Otherwise, you're going to have some bugs. So for example, if I miss the comma here and we try and run that, we'll quite quickly get given this syntax error. So it's quite easy fixed. Again, if you have any problems with your code, if you want to, if you go up into share here and say share link, copy the code here and send that to us as a message, and we'll be able to have a look into it and be able to hopefully help you out. Yeah, please don't try and send the links to the question and answers segment because unfortunately we can't click them and can't copy and paste them. So if you can send them as a message to us, that would be brilliant and we can help you out a bit easier.
Huh?
If someone sends a link through the Q&A section, we can't actually click the link and we can't copy it either. So it's unfortunately a bit difficult. Okay. So someone sent us a copy of their code at the moment that they're having trouble with. So if we just quickly copy that and bring that across. So on here, you've hit the problem here. On line 39, you're missing a comma just there. And then that should make it all work. So yeah, most importantly, make sure you've got a comma after your set of braces from there. and make sure your comma here after kitchen. Okay, so most importantly, just make sure you've got those commas because they are what a few people are getting tripped up by them at the moment. So and again, someone else has also sent us their code, and you've got pretty much the same problem, unfortunately. You're missing a comma just here, so you need a comma after hall there, after your whole set. And if you run that, you should be in a working situation. Okay, so looks like we've got no one else with any problems at the moment. So fingers crossed, you've all got yourself working with your code so you can walk from the 2 rooms. As I say, if you do have any problems, just let us know and we will try and help you out. Either we'll send you a message individually, or if it's something where a few people are hitting the same problem, we'll try and show it on the screen here for you. Okay. So here's a bit of a challenge for you. We've just added in 1 room. Can you add in another room? So do you want to try and do this one, challenge, Lydia?
I don't know.
Or shall I just do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just listen.
Fair enough. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to add another room from the dining room. You can add it from whatever room you like. So for us, I'm going to create a brand new room. So after dining rooms brackets here, I'm going to do comma.
Wait, how
New line.
do you know where you're going? What if you forgot, like, where's the hall, where's the dining room, where's the kitchen?
Well, this is where drawing a map is probably quite good. So
I can draw. I'll draw the map.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to add a new room after here, and I'm going to call this. Oh, should we call it a living room maybe?
A bedroom.
Yeah, it could be a bedroom. So we've got the name of the room. We've got colon, open brackets, and then when you hit enter or return, you'll see it quite nicely adds in the other bracket for you. So it makes life a little bit easier for us. And we can do that. And we'll say from the living room, we can travel north. And that will take us to the dining room. In the dining room, we want to be able to get to the living room. So we'll do after this bit here, after hall, we'll go comma, and we'll say south. Colon, and then we'll say dining room. So hopefully if I run that, so stop and start again. So I'm in the hall. If I go east, I'm now in the dining room. And from here, if I go south, I'm now in. Ooh, I made a bug already.
Forgot you come on.
No, I've said in the dining room, if you travel south, you travel back to the dining room. I've made it so you can always keep going south and south and south and south. Almost like a puzzle room. So for me, I need to say living room. So if I rerun that. So again, if I go east from the hall, or in the dining room, from the dining room I can go south. I'm in the living room, yay! And from this living room, if I go north, I'm back in the dining room. So that works. Sorry. Okay. So hopefully you've all been able to add in an extra room. And again, most importantly, make sure you put in a comma after the brackets from your dining room or wherever you want to insert it. And if in this case, we've only just added 1 doorway in the living room, so we haven't had to worry about a comma here. But if you do put a comma on there, it still works. So it doesn't hurt to have an extra comma if need be.
Oh, so like, wait, where's the comma again?
That one. No, yeah, that's going to be crazy. That I think will break it. Yes. Yeah. Don't go crazy and put that many on there.
It's funny.
Oh yeah, it's funny, but it doesn't work.
What if I had in 1,000,000 on every line?
Well, that'd be a lot. That'd be an awful lot. So, fingers crossed you've been able to add in an extra room. Okay, so what I'm going to do is from this point, I'll share a copy of what code I've written. So that if you do get stuck, you can have a look at the code we've written and see if you can see what's different. You can pull me that.
Yeah. It's probably stuck.
Yeah, I can't pull that out, I'm afraid.
I did it on the other one.
Okay, well, I don't want to break your Lego. Let me concentrate about this a minute, yeah? Okay, so fingers crossed you've got yourself an extra room and you've been able to play with it. So, role-playing game, quite fun travelling from room to room, but kind of a bit boring as well. Yeah, you want to be able to do something more.
Yeah, like room. Seriously?
Yeah, so normally in role-playing games, you have items to pick up, don't you? And normally there's always a key to open some sort of door or something, isn't there?
No, should we make it different? Like, there's always a unicorn to open.
Well,
open a robot.
Yeah, but for the moment, we'll just go with a key for starting point. So what we do is we're going to add a key into the hall. So if you go to your line 34 after East dining room here, we're going to do comma, and then we can say single quote item, close single quote, colon, and then we're going to say single quote key. So now if you run that, you should see when you start the game that when you start in the hall, you can see that there's a key in the room. And then what we can do is we can, using the instructions from up here, we can say get key, and we pick up the key and say you're still in the hall, you've now got a key in your inventory, and you don't see a key on the floor because you picked it up.
Like, I don't see even a map, so how do you know?
Well, this game coding at the moment, we don't have a map, so you'll have to either look back at the original map that we had at the start, or draw your own and just keep up to date where you're up to. You can break it.
Okay.
Right. There you go. Like I said, can't really concentrate on Lego at the moment.
Thanks.
Okay, so fingers crossed you've been able to add a key and be able to pick it up as well.
I was about to say, do you want a drink?
That's right, I'm good. Thank you. Okay, so if you've managed to add in the key, maybe as a next challenge, what you can do is see if you can add in another item into your game.
All of these can be challenges.
Well, it's to practice, so we do something and then... oh. Sorry, mate. Sorry, one second. Sorry about that. Right. So, to add a key into the game, as we're saying, on line 35 here, we've done this single quote, item, close single quote, colon, single quote, key, single quote. Okay, so that's how we add a key item into the hall, so that when you start the game, you should see this line here, you see a key. So, as I have challenge, we're going to add another item. So this is the point where we can say, what item would you like to add into the game? A unicorn, was it?
Yeah, and...
Let's just do one item.
Okay.
Sorry, so are we doing a boo or a unicorn? What are we doing?
A unicorn, but...
Okay. Okay, so for us, well, that's distracting me. So for me, we're going to add in an item into the kitchen. You can add it into whatever room you like. So after hall here, we do comma, and then return, and then do single quote, item, and then close single quote, and then colon, single quote, and in this case, we're having a unicorn. Your item may vary. So now if we run that, and we're in the hall. So if we go from the hall, we want to go to the kitchen. So if we look at our code here, remember, we're in the hall, we travel south to get to the kitchen. So we'll say go south.
Oh.
We're now in the kitchen and we see a unicorn.
Huh.
Although you see a unicorn isn't quite right, but hey.
You see a unicorn.
Yeah.
See a unicorn.
Yeah. It's one of those fun joys when it comes to vowels and the grammatical. Right, seriously, if you can play the Lego, maybe not right underneath your feet. Okay, so hopefully you've been able to add an item and you've been able to travel to your room and see your item. And in this case, also make sure you say, we'll be able to get the unicorn.
Wait, unicorn got, huh?
Yeah. Well, if we go back to the hall, so
Oh,
kitchen,
unicorn got. Or
north,
maybe you got unicorn.
and we'll say you see a key, so we can say get key. Oh, helps if I say get space key. Get key. There we go. Key got, and we now have in our inventory a unicorn and a key.
But won't the unicorn be too big?
Well, hey, on many of these games I've seen where you've been able to pick up a massive item and then somehow it fits in your small pocket. So, like all RPG games, apparently we can fit a unicorn in our pocket.
Oh, it's oh yeah. It's like you have a tiny pocket. If you have something massive, and you put it in a tiny pocket.
Maybe they've all got pockets that are like the TARDIS, bigger on the inside than the outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
And where does Link fit it all?
Very good question. So yeah, so if you run into any problems, give us if you can send us a copy of your code, again using the share link and then copying the link here.
Dad, we're not playing any of the Link games or
Very good.
games.
Right, and then that way we can sort of have a look at your code and we can hopefully debug it for you. So someone's asking how do we use items. We will be coming to that shortly, but not quite yet. So don't worry, we will get to that. Okay, so it looks like we haven't got anyone having problems at the moment. So we'll take it as that everyone's all good. If not, again, let us know and we can try and help you. So at the moment, we've been able to travel to different rooms. We managed to pick up items. All good role-playing games need at least one sort of enemy, don't they?
Ooh, I know.
What? I'll wipe your nose. Ugh.
No. I know.
Okay, so what we're going to do is, for the moment, I'm going to, unfortunately, remove our unicorn.
No! Remove the key, not the unicorn, please. Please.
Well, to keep this following the instructions and make it nice and easy. But again, this is one of those things where at the end, you can always go through and do a remix and make it a bit different.
Destroy the regular key, because the unicorn is actually a unicorn key.
Well, on this example, that would be bad. So what we'll do, for the moment, I'm going to remove the unicorn temporarily. So for this one here.
But in our inventory, there's a unicorn still.
Yeah, that's good. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add a monster in. So for this example here, and this is probably quite important, don't put it in your hallway, we're going to add a monster into our kitchen.
Why? Because it wants to cook dinner.
Well, yeah. I mean, where else do monsters live? No. So at the moment, what we do is in the kitchen, we're going to say after hall, we're going to do comma, and we're going to say item, colon, and then we're going to say monster. So, because this is a hungry monster, that's why it's in the kitchen, it's looking for food. So if we now run this, if we see we're in the hall, we say go south to go to the kitchen. And see, we're now in the kitchen, we say you see a monster. So we've got a monster in the kitchen. Nice and easy.
But then nothing else, you just see a monster.
Nothing else at the moment, yeah. But, I mean, in a game, normally, if you run into a monster, you need normally, and in this example, well, you could talk to them, but in this game, if you run into the monster, it's game over.
There's one life.
Yep, one life. It's a very hungry monster. So what we're going to do is, if you've added in the monster into the kitchen, what we then need to do is we need to scroll down to the bottom here. So we'll go through some of this code in a minute. But down the bottom here, we want to add in after this line, if we go return, and we'll do one more, and make sure that it's inside this line here, I believe. We'll check that, make sure I'm saying the right spot. No, one more. So we need to put a new line in here, and it needs to be indented so it's inside this line. So it should be only one indent in. So what we're going to do is add in the code so that if you run into a monster, it's game over. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the hash or pound sign, as it's sometimes known as, for a comment, and we're just going to say what we're doing here. So here we're going to say player loses if they enter a room with a monster.
Wait, so when you enter the kitchen, you die?
Yes. So you never get, yeah. It's a very simple game, and maybe you can make it a bit more interesting and do something else later. But for this lesson at the moment, we're not going to go that far at the moment.
What does a monster look like?
Imagine the most scary or cute monster you like or want. It can look like whatever you like. Okay. So for here, we're going to put a comment in here for our knowledge. As you see in this example trinket that we had at the start, there's an awful lot of comments here to help explain what's happening with the code. So it's always good practice to comment things like this so you can help if you come back to it later to read it, or if someone else comes to read the code. So we're going to say if item in rooms, current room, and monster in rooms, current room, and then another set of square brackets, item. So don't worry, I will be trying to explain a sec. Colon, and then return, and then hopefully it's still indented. And then we're going to say print, bracket, single quote, a monster has got you, game over.
What about start again at the...
Oh yeah. By the way, a typo, that should be an R, not a T. Right, and then what we do here, no, and after that is break. So, yeah. And thank you for the spot there. Right, so what this code does is saying if the item in the current room we're in is a monster, and it's also in our current room, then the monster gets us, and this break means it'll game over on us. So if we stop and restart this.
And then walk into the kitchen.
And we walk into the kitchen, which from memory the kitchen was south, wasn't it? Yes, so when we go south, we walk into the kitchen and monster has got us, game over.
What, at the both doorways or something?
Mm.
Then you don't, what if you forgot about that? You try walking into the kitchen.
That's game over. Some games are like that, do one wrong move, that's it, game over. You right?
Yep.
Okay. So basically what we've got down here is a loop that continues forever. So that's what this while is. There's a loop here. So this while true means we've got a loop that will constantly run over and over and over again.
Mm. So
it shows us the status, which is the sort of where we are stuff. We then do the moving start magic code that we're given. And this is some logic here that checks to see if we're doing a go or a get to pick stuff up. So if we get here is telling us we're going and telling if you can go that way or not. We've got the get stuff, and then we've got this game over logic that we've got here. Okay. Let's get that notification. Right. So hopefully you've been able to put a monster in your kitchen and see that when you go into the room, it's game over. So very importantly, as we're saying, don't put it in the hall, because if you put it in the hall, you're going to instantly game over, I believe.
Drink.
Yeah, it wouldn't be much of a fun game if you game over before you even play.
Play. Game over. How did I play? Game over.
So as a challenge, if you want to, if you've added more rooms, you can add more monsters and see how that goes. So should we add another monster into our house?
Yeah.
Yeah? Any particular room you want to put it in?
Dining room?
Yeah, we'll put the dining room if you want.
The bedroom?
Well, we haven't got a bedroom room.
Oh, sorry.
Should we put it in the living room? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, monsters want to watch TV, possibly.
Okay.
Or play on their consoles. So what we can do, again, make sure you've got a comma. And we're going to say single quote, item, single quote, colon, single quote, monster. So if we run that again, so we're in the hall. So we need to go east to the dining room. And then from the dining room, we can say go south. And that gets us to the living room, and the monster got us. So it works. So, and if we run that again, we should also see if we go south from the hall, straight into the monster in the kitchen. Cool. So our monsters are working quite well. So let's have a look. So if you've got any problems, let us know so we can have a look at your code. Okie dokie. So someone sent us their code already. Let's have a look. So yeah, as someone has just run into a problem. So make sure your indentation's right here. So for example, in this one, you've got your if statement here, but you need to make sure that these two are indented one level each. And then you should find that it works. So that's the important part, to make sure that these two lines are indented from this line. Okay. So again, if you've got any problems, let us know and we'll try and help you out. Because it must admit, this is a bit of a jump from our previous ones where we were actually using someone else's code, and this is one of those examples where when you start using someone else's code, it's sometimes hard to understand how it all works together. But it's definitely worth spending some time afterwards, having a read through all the comments that is in here, which explains what's happening.
I don't get what's happening.
Oh, we're doing an RPG game. And sometimes to show you some really cool stuff, you have to have some extra code around just to make it a little bit more interesting. But also means that if you do want to learn some more, you can sort of fiddle and play around with it. Okay, so doesn't look like we've got any more questions at the moment, so fingers crossed you all got your things working. If not, again, let us know and we'll try and help you out. So at the moment, we've got the situation where you can travel, you can pick up items, and you can get game over by meeting a monster. I mean, personally, the monster might just want a hug. But what we can do here is we can have a situation where we get a win. We want to win a game, don't we, at the end?
Yeah.
No fun playing a game if you can't win. All you can do is lose. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a bit of code. We're going to change some of our code slightly. But the idea is, if I move this to page 7. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this sort of map. And so in this example, the monster looks like, I'm going to say, some sort of
chicken head.
Yeah, I was going to say it looks like a duck or a chicken with teeth. So we're going to have a hall with a key, a dining room with a potion, and a kitchen with the monster, and we're going to add in a garden room. Okay, so that's what we're going to try and do. So what we want to do is we'll need to go back to our room stuff up here. And for the moment, we're going to keep some of the same. So we've got south, kitchen, east dining room, and an item of a key inside the hallway. We're going to have in the kitchen, still be able to travel north to the hall, an item of a monster, and just put an extra line there to make that a bit clearer. We're going to keep our dining room, and you can still go from west to hall, but we're going to change south to be, in this case, a garden. So we're going to change this room to garden. And what we'll do down here is we'll change this living room into a garden as well. And for the moment, we're going to remove the monster from the garden. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, now that we've got the sort of code back in a nice spot, in case that you've got slightly lost with all the different code changes or your code isn't working, I'll send you a link to the updated code. So they're all starting from the same spot. And I'll make sure I send it to everyone rather than sending it to no one, because that wouldn't help. There we go. So that's the updated code. So let's say this code should, or if you're doing your code yourself, you should have a key in the kitchen, a key in the hall, a monster in the kitchen, and that's it in the item sections. So if you run that, we should be able to say...
It's because K and K, key in the kitchen,
yeah,
they rhyme and start with the same.
Yep. So from the hall, go east. We're in the dining room. From the dining room, we say go south, and we're now in the garden. So hopefully you can do that in your code. And again, if you need to, I'll send a link to this page so you can see where we are on the map if you get lost. Because this is our map to make life a bit easier for us. Okay, so hopefully you've got yourself back to that set. So what we're going to do is in the dining room, we're going to add in a potion. So after garden, we're going to say comma, say item, colon, quote even, potion. So again, if we now stop and run that again, we should see that if we say go east from the hall, we're now in the dining room and we see a potion. Can't we do that at the moment? Except, so there you go.
Thanks.
Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to put a potion in your dining room, and also if you say get potion. So if you've got that code, what we need to do is again scroll down to the very bottom, and after our lose scenario, we want to add in some new code.
I'm gonna go and grab a drink.
Okay. So after break, do return twice, and make sure that you're indented the same level as this if, so you can see the line there. Because we want this code to be our win scenario, not as part of our lose scenario. So if we say, let's put a comment in here so we can say what the code's doing, so that when we come back to this later, you can always read it and know what you've done. So we say, player wins if they get to garden with the key and potion. Okay. Don't worry, you don't have to make sure, you try and make your comment make sense for you to read later on. It doesn't have to be exactly worded like that. But it helps you so you can come back to this later if you try and understand what the logic's doing. So we're going to do another if statement. So we're going to say if current room equals garden. So if you remember from previous lessons, when you do use double equals, this is checking for a condition, and it will be true or false. And then we use some logic, a logic gate here, so we're using an and. So we're saying if current room equals garden, and you have a key in your inventory, so key in inventory. But you also need to have the potion as well, so we then go and potion in inventory, and then colon, return, and then we're going to say print, and then we're going to say a winning message. So in our case, we're going to do bracket quote escaped the house.
Was this escape the house?
Yep. So we've got a winning message to say that we've won, and then again return, and we say break because that's effectively the end of the game.
Seriously, that's all it has?
Yeah. Well, again, this is a simple game that we're learning, and you can always remix it and do extra things and make it a bit more exciting. So if we run this now, stop, run again. So we're in the hall. We want to go east, isn't it? We're in the dining room, so we want to get the potion. From there, if we go go south, that should put us in the garden. So at the moment, we've gone to the garden. All we've got is a potion, so we've not won the game because we haven't got the key and the potion.
Wait, don't you have to have a key to escape?
Yes, you need a key and the potion to escape. So we've picked up a potion, gone to the garden. We've not won yet. So we say go north. We're in the dining room again. From the dining room, and I'm going to have to remember what we're here. So in the dining room, we need to go west. Sorry. So go west. We're back in the hall. So we're going to get the key. So we've now got the potion and the key in our inventory. So we've got everything we need to win. So if we say we want to go east to go back into the dining room. And so from the dining room, we want to say go south to go back to the garden. And we escaped the house. We won. So we've tested that works quite nicely. We've tested we can walk into the garden with, if we haven't got all the items, we get to the garden and it's not game over, we haven't won. We then picked up and made sure we've got both the potion and the key. We've returned to the garden and we've escaped the house. So that's pretty good, I'd say. So give everyone a moment to get their code working. Again, if you're having any problems, if you send us a copy of your code and we can try and help debug it.
Can you put a link out to this current version?
Yep, so let's copy that. Okay, so if you use this link to have a look at your code to see where it's different, that will help you out. But yeah, if you are stuck, send us your code so we can help debug it for you. Let's see, so I think that. So what do you think of this RPG so far? Do you think it's pretty good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm.
You almost sound excited by it.
Do I?
So you need to make sure that as part of your code, you've got all this stuff here. So we've got our hall with south kitchen, east dining room, item of key. In our kitchen, we've got north hall, item monster. So that's our game over scenario if you walk into the kitchen. You've got dining room, you've got west hall, south garden, and an item of potion. And then in our garden, you've just got north dining room. So that's all the rooms we've got. And the other bit of code that we've also added in as part of this is our two scenarios. So we've got our lose logic. So we're saying that if you enter a room with a monster, it's game over. And then we've got our win logic down here, where we say that if you enter the garden and you've got the key and the potion, you escape and win. That sounds like some Lego falling on the floor.
Look, did you pick it up?
I can't a second.
Why can't you?
Because I'm doing this.
But I'm doing this.
Well, you're playing with Lego.
But you're the one that has easier way to, you know, put it down.
So it looks like people seem to be all right at the moment. Again, if you've got any problems, send us your code and we can try and have a look and try and fix it. So that's pretty much it for this lesson.
Let's go see.
So maybe it's a bit of a challenge, something to play with and maybe experiment a bit more in, is to see if you can add some more rooms, add in some more items with some more logic. You know, maybe you can even have it so that your house has multiple floors, so you can have a stairs in some room that let you go up and down. Yeah, this is a chance where you've got the starting point of code, and we'll reshare the link again, so you've got a starting point with what we've got. So that's the finished code. So that's our finished code. But yeah, see if you can add some more rooms and different floors, yeah, and maybe play around with it all. But definitely a big important step, I'd say, is if you do start adding all these rooms in, is draw yourself a little map with maybe a little icons like this to sort of show what's in each room, so you can sort of remember how it works and where you are, where you go next. So someone's asked why an item can't have a capital letter. I didn't know that was an issue, to be honest, so let's just try. Let's make our key a capital K. So this is probably maybe where I'm misunderstanding your problem. Whatever casing you've got here, you need to make sure it's the same down here. So if you do have a capital K for your key, you need to make sure that you have a capital K down here for your key as well. In this case, we should get, and I think if we do lowercase key, but yes, we say get, and we say uppercase K for key. Oh no, it doesn't work. Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe that's a slight bug in the this code that we get as a starting point. But that's a very good spot. So yeah, for the moment, at least for making it work, simplicity for our sake, lowercase is definitely good there. But yes, it'd be interesting to know why. Okay, so someone else looks like that their code. Let's close that. Okay, so one of the codes someone just sent us. Oops, wrong one. So in this example here, they're saying that when they get to the game, they get to the garden, they've got a key. So at the moment, you're missing the logic in there for just sort of saying and checking you've got potion. So if you look at the code that we've got, here we've got the current room equals garden, and then key in inventory, and then we've got another and then we say potion in inventory. But yes, that's pretty good. If you don't want to have a potion and just want to get the key to win, that's pretty good code. Okay, so someone else has sent us some code. Right, so if we go back here. So on this code here, in your win condition, you've said that you've won, but you haven't said to break at the end. So at the moment, I'm guessing you get to the very end. I'm guessing when you get to the garden, so if we say go, actually get key, don't we? So get key, got the key. So if we then go east, ooh. So let's have a look here. Item in rooms, current room. Let's have a look. And monster in rooms, current room item. So what have we got now? Rooms up here. Let's have a look. So kitchen, dining room key.
Lowercase r going east from hall.
Ah, yes.
But the room is uppercase R, and the same from the garden.
So yes, make sure your casings do match your casings on there. Otherwise, yeah, you'll end up with that sort of scenario. So go east. So we get the potion. If we then go west, we're back in the hall. Yep, so we can get to key. And if we go south. Oh, I just walked into the monster room, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get the key. Go west. Oh, no, just go east, isn't it? See, I'm getting confused where I am in the room, in this house. Go east, and get the potion, and we go south from here, which takes us to the garden. So in this case here, in your code...
What do you keep saying? Kai?
Visitors. So yeah, you have... Let's have a look. So if current room equals garden, which is correct, and key in inventory, and potion in inventory, we've got the escaped, you win. Yeah, you're missing a break here. Ah, that's, yes, that's weird. So you can see here, you've got the message say you escape the house and you win, but because we haven't got the break, which you need to indent one and do break there, it keeps letting you play. So you can see you're in the garden, but it doesn't seem to have finished the game in that sense. So you're just missing the break on line 106 there. Cool. So it looks like everyone else is either quite happy with their code or they're finished. So yeah, definitely have an experiment. Definitely play around and see if you can make your game a bit more exciting. You know, add in a few more monsters, maybe a few more floors and rooms.
And if you touch the monster, then you die.
Yeah, maybe you might be able to add in as an item that, scares the monster away or something. You know, there's different bits of logic here you can add in to sort of say maybe that when you're in a room with a monster, that then if you've got a special, I don't know, magic potion on you, that the monster vanishes or something. Maybe that could be an option.
Or if you have a sword, you can attack.
Yeah, could be a sword. I mean, it could be a friendly monster. It might just want a sandwich. You know, if you walk into a room, walk into the kitchen with a sandwich, the monster eats the sandwich and goes home. Who knows? So, I hope you've all enjoyed today's lesson. Thank you very much for.
What about the one in the living room?
Yeah. So, if you've got any more questions, send them over now. We'll leave the webinar open for a few more minutes so you can send us any questions if you've got any problems. At the end of this webinar, as usual, there'll be a survey. If you really appreciate if you can fill in the survey, because it helps us learn where we're going right or going wrong. We're also at the moment thinking about changing the time slot because a lot of people, especially in the UK, have started going back to school. So 2 o'clock sessions maybe don't work so well. So really would like your feedback to let us know if other times are better for you, because we want to be able to have this open to as many people as possible. And as always, we do try and post the videos onto YouTube within a couple of days. So yeah, if you do want to rewatch the session, it should be there in a couple of days' time. So thank you again, everyone. Yeah, so hopefully you've enjoyed today's lesson. Hope you've learned something from it, and we'll see you all next week. Have a good weekend, everyone.